Please welcome Chicago's own and our host for the day, Val Warner.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, you guys can do a little bit better than that after that drum line. Good morning. Wow. Hello and welcome officially to the 2023 Chicago Venture Summit Future of Food. How you feeling this morning? All right, how many of you all are not from Chicago? Welcome to our glorious, beautiful city. You will get to step outside. I ordered this weather specifically just for you. Okay, so you are in for a treat today. As you just heard, my name is Val Warner. I'm a proud Chicagoan. I love music, so of course I enjoyed that drum line. Shout out to them. What a great way to open this epic day that we're gonna have here. I love people, and on behalf of the World Business Chicago, we are so happy to have each and every one of you here today. And I don't know about you all, I love food. If you've watched Windy City Live or ABC7 down through the years, you have watched me enjoy food on TV, talk about food on TV, and now I'm here talking about the future of food. Not me, I'm just gonna keep the day going, but I get to listen about the future of food, so I'm super excited for that and to be your MC for today. And who doesn't love our Chicago Bulls? That's right. We also have the trophies right over there, so that is just another amazing touch. I know y'all can still give it up for the Bulls. I know we're not in the playoffs. There's always next year. We had a nice little run at the end. We have hope. We have to keep hope alive here in Chicago. Well, last year, I had the opportunity to work with the World Business Chicago team for the first time here at the Chicago Venture Summit, and it was all about the future of logistics. I was so excited to return this year and participate, especially knowing that this one was all about the future of food and the role that we're gonna play here in Chicago. Today is like no other day. This week's Chicago Venture Summit is the largest ever, with more than 1,000 participants from around the world. That's you. Thank you so much for coming and being here today. And today we will get to know more than 150 startups who are all a part of the official Chicago Venture Summit startup portfolio. We're also going to hear from the brightest minds who are paving the path for the future of food. Now, I do have a little bit of homework for you guys. Just a little small task for you to do today, okay? 3 requests. Is that okay? Okay, first, say hi to a startup. That's easy. So if you are a food startup, can you just raise your hand right now? Raise it. Okay, look how many food startups are in here right now, right? This is great. This is great because everyone else, introduce yourself to these food startups right now. And investors, this is perfect for you. This is your perfect opportunity to make a deal. Today is your day. All right, so that's task number 1. See, that was easy. All you had to do was raise your hand and say hi to somebody. The next thing you have to do is share your favorite moment from the day on LinkedIn and Twitter. We want to invite you to share all about your experience here, and there's a hashtag, so you can get your phones out. Everybody got most people have their phones in their hand. Get your hashtag. See, you're smiling. Oh, I love when people smile back. Thank you. Yes, it's Shy Venture Summit. That's easy. Everybody say it with me. Hashtag Shy, C-H-I, Venture Summit. You got that? We want to blow up social media. Okay, and then lastly, this is the easiest part of the day. This is all you have to do. Have fun. Have fun. Enjoy the day. You are literally in the best city in the world. Did you know that? Those of us who are from Chicago already know that, but you are in the best city in the world, so enjoy that. So now, I have a very important question, and raise your hand if you've ever attended a Chicago Venture Summit since 2014. Okay, I see quite a few hands. All right, well, there's only one person on the WBC team who has that distinction of attending every year, and that is our very own Mark Tebbe, chair of the Innovation and Venture Council at World Business Chicago. So please help me in welcoming Mark onto the stage to open today's summit. Give him a big round of applause, Mark Tebbe.
Thank you very much, Val. It is kind of a big honor to be up here, to have seen every Chicago Venture Summit. And the very first one I had the opportunity to interview was Travis Kalanick, who was founding Uber, to be up on our stage where he rolled out Uber Pool and having piloted Uber Cab. But we have done so much. As Val mentioned, I am the chair of the Innovation and Venture Council for World Business Chicago, which, for those that don't know, is the City of Chicago's economic development organization, and we are the creators and organizers of the Chicago Venture Summit. The first one I launched was in 2017, and we had 28 startups, 323 attendees, and representing 132 investment firms, and it was actually founded by then Chicago Next Chair and now Governor J.B. Pritzker. And we did it because we felt it was important that we introduce the country and the world to the brilliant entrepreneurs building here in Chicago. And since that 2014, I've had the honor of launching and running every one of these. And it really is not me, it's really the team of Alia and Abin and Lauren now that have really made that possible. But today is my 8th Venture Summit. And along the way, we've listened, we've learned, we've adopted, and we've grown, as you can see. And before it was commonplace, we were driven to address gender diversity, racial diversity, funding gap challenges for startups, showing what we could do here in Chicago, which became a model for many other parts of the world. And interestingly enough, we originally had a general focus, where we just said, these are the startups of Chicago in various little sectors. 2 years ago, we made a decision to do just sector-focused discussions. And we've done transportation, distribution, logistics, we've done future food, we'll do sustainability. But most importantly, by focusing, as we always try to tell entrepreneurs, the more you focus, the bigger you get. And by focusing, this place has taken on a whole new life. So we're very thrilled for that. But it's always been the focus to basically showcase the very best that our city has. Entrepreneurs and innovators who are building the next generation in whatever the world's most important industries are. Having been a veteran of this community, now I'm going to feel old, for the past 40 years, I remember when the word tech, innovation, and startup in Chicago wasn't even a consideration. But today, we're living absolutely the best times for Chicago tech, innovation, and startup ecosystem. Last year alone, the Chicago founders and startups raised more than $10 billion in growth capital, placing us amongst the largest startup and venture ecosystem in the world. And it's also in one of the most diverse economies in the world. In Chicago, no sector takes up more than 14% of the total employment. You may know New York for finance, Houston for oil and gas, San Francisco for tech, but you can do that and many more in Chicago. That said, there are sectors that Chicago can and should own, and that's what we focus on. TDL obviously was an obvious one. We can lead and dominate in sustainability and clean tech. We're continuing to build our life sciences. I mean, you see the Chan Zuckerberg initiative coming here over so many other cities in the United States demonstrates that. But today we're focusing on Chicago's most promising sector, and that's the food and ag scene. We dominate the world in this space. As Val pointed out, today we have 150 startups who are part of our official Venture Summit startup portfolio, along with dozens more who are not, but are here in the room. And today's all about them, focusing on our brilliant entrepreneurs who are building the next great thing in food and ag. So as Val pointed out, and I'm going to reiterate, the most important ask here, we're doing it for the entrepreneurs. So if you see someone that has a startup portfolio on their ribbon, you'll see the ribbon. On these ribbons also, when you take them home, don't just throw them in the trash, plant them. And you'll see they turn into flowers. It's all about being able to do. That's why you're going to hear this throughout the day. But these are actually seeds that you can just put in the ground, water it, and then flowers grow. So, but in doing that, if you see someone who has a badge underneath and it says start a portfolio, go up and say hello to them. Introduce yourself. Ask them about their story and find a way to help tell their story and build their network. That's what the Chicago Venture Summit has been about, it's what it is about, and it's what it will continue to be about. Basically, helping the startups here in this room who are ready to share their story with the world, and we need your help in doing so. And I gotta tell you, I mean, the drum corps is amazing and everything, but this room is spectacular. I mean, you're actually in the second highest basketball court, full-size basketball court in the city. I assure you, you don't want to be in the highest because that's on the top of the prison. But I'm so happy to be back here and also to be in one of the hottest neighborhoods for entrepreneurship in the city. And there's no better partner for us to do it. I mean, Jeff Chapek and his Chapek partners have been a fabulous partner in here. I remember when let's give it a shot. I remember when we first started talking about this and asking him if we could use it, and he's like, oh, I don't know. But we convinced him to do it, and since then we've had several of the Venture Summits here. He's always been a fabulous host, but more importantly, he's always been a strategic asset for us, and a great partner. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to Jeff Chapek.
Good morning. Thank you, Mark, and World Business Chicago for hosting the Chicago Venture Summit, Future of Food, in Fulton Market District. And thank you, Mayor Lightfoot and Deputy Mayor Mayakar, for your generous support of World Business Chicago. It's an honor to speak with you all today about how the food industry is evolving and what that means for Chicago. Welcome to 167 Greens Town Hall. You are seated, as Mark just said, on an NBA-sized basketball court, where we have hosted the Chicago Bulls, Paolo Banchero practiced for the NBA Combine, Justin Bieber shot scenes for his next documentary, President Barack Obama led a panel discussion on this stage, surprising 100 teens from the south side of Chicago. And in July of 2022, Governor Pritzker and Mayor Lightfoot pitched Chicago on our terrace as the host city for the 2024 Democratic National Convention. And last month, the DNC chose Chicago. Congratulations. Fulton Market has become one of the most vibrant and exciting neighborhoods in Chicago. What started as a meatpacking and market produce district has transformed into a thriving hub for restaurants, hotels, residents, tech startups, creative businesses, and corporate headquarters. It is a central social district that brings people together from all walks of life to enjoy good food and good company. A place where you can live and work and play and stay and eat and drink and shop. We often remind our friends on the coast that Chicago is the epicenter of food and beverage and food innovation in the United States. We have more James Beard nominees, finalists, and winners than anywhere in the United States. And the annual James Beard Award ceremony moved from New York City to Chicago, and it's still here. And just last year, Chef Eric Williams of Virtue Restaurant and Bar in Hyde Park took home the James Beard Best Chef Award. But what I want to talk to you about today is the future of food in Chicago. Chicago has always been a city that celebrates its culinary diversity. And as a real estate developer, I have a unique perspective on how our city is evolving and how the food industry will continue to play a central role in shaping our future. We must recognize that food is not just fuel for our bodies, but a vital part of our culture and identity. The growing number of restaurants and food startups setting up shop in Chicago are providing great food and drinks and creating a sense of community and connection that is so important in our fast-paced world. It's creating careers in hospitality, restaurants, and innovative companies focused on food. But as we look to the future, we must consider the challenges the food industry faces. Climate change, food waste, and the need for sustainable agriculture are all issues that will require creative solutions and new approaches. There are so many people in this room today that are already working on this. We must rely on something other than the same old food production and distribution models to build a more resilient and equitable food system. That's why real estate developers have a critical role in shaping the future of food by creating spaces that foster innovation, collaboration, and sustainability we can help support the growth of the food industry and ensure that it continues to thrive for generations to come. So let's work together to build a future of food that is not just delicious, but also sustainable, equitable, and resilient. It starts with events like today, where World Business Chicago has brought together 1,000 people to meet and network. I wish everyone could see this and appreciate that collaborating together makes us stronger. Sorry for this plug, but let's get back to the office. 5 days a week. Let me leave you with this thought. If you were to think about this neighborhood, Fulton Market District, as a meal at a restaurant, we are just at the beginning. Dinner has been ordered, you're chatting over drinks, appetizers are on the way to the table. But we have many more courses to come. And like all good meals, this will be an experience where you will be inspired along the way. The future of food is here today, and Chicago welcomes all of you to join us at the table. I am pleased to introduce the CEO of World Business Chicago, a brilliant marketer and legend. Please welcome my friend, Michael Fassnack.
Good morning. So this morning is an emotional moment for me. It's an emotional morning, and you might ask, but Michael, you were clearly born in Germany, so how could you have an emotional morning? Despite all the myths out there, Germans have deep, deep, deep down emotions. I see it in my mom at least once or twice a year. So you might ask, so what are the emotions about today, Michael? I think there are plenty of reasons to be emotional. One is to have and helping to host the largest business event World Business Chicago has ever done in 24 years. That's a good reason to be emotional. Or to, when you look at the 150 startups we are celebrating, showcasing today, close to 70% of them are founded and led by people of color. And close to 50% by female leaders who started this company. That's reason to be emotional. And you can also be emotional because we really, like Jeff and Mark said, creating the future, a better future, because food and ag is so critical of how we rethink our society. But the real reason is why I'm emotional this morning is, over the last 3 years, I introduced the next speaker quite a few times. And today's my last time to introduce the next speaker. And there's a lot of been written, you know, when you're the mayor of this great city, of who you are. And I had the pleasure, and just sometimes a few times the pain, to be very close to Mayor Lori Lightfoot. And I can guarantee, and I will say this until I leave this amazing planet, she's one of the most amazing people I've ever met, had the pleasure of working with, because she's a person who always thinks about how can we see the whole city? How can we see all of our residents? What does a city government can do to improve the lives of all of us, especially of communities and people who have been previously marginalized? She's a woman who works day and night for all of us in the city. You might not always agree with everything with her. I haven't, but I always knew she's trying to do the right thing for an amazing city. She led us through difficult times with COVID that people like to forget easily, tough times with our civic unrest. And I know she lives a legacy that will make our city better and will bear fruits for decades to come. So for the last time in my job as a CEO of World Business Chicago, and we are only here because of her, because she has supported myself, the organization, everyone in World Business Chicago over the last 4 years. She is the reason why we're here. So it's a pleasure and honor to introduce the great mayor of Chicago, Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
Thank you, thank you. You know, it's not every day that you get introduced by a legend. and such kind words, so humble. Thank you, Michael, and thank you to the entire team at World Business Chicago, and welcome to Chicago, one and all. Let me take this moment to thank Michael for being an incredible leader and trusted advisor and friend during my time as mayor. The city is absolutely better off by having you lead it as a brand over these last 4 years. And as president and CEO of World Business Chicago, you have catapulted the organization to become a top-ranked, well-respected economic engine development organization in the country. So thank you, Michael, and thank you to the team. And ladies and gentlemen, if you bear with me, I have a few more thank yous that I'd like to make sure that I speak this morning. Let me go to Jeff Shapak. I'm going to go off script here, so that's always a little dangerous, but I remember the very first time that I was here, and I'd heard of you, but I'd never met you. And you came up and you gave this amazing recitation about the history of this area in the city. And you talked about going into one of the buildings and, frankly, touching the floorboards, and it was still, frankly, oozing with the fluids, I'll say, of the meat that had been slaughtered there. You saw such potential in this area that no one else saw. And it's because of your vision, your innovation, your determination. You have transformed this area into, I think, one of the hottest real estate areas in the country. And you were modest in saying, this has become the place to be in the city of Chicago. Not only great dining, boutique hotels, startup businesses, life sciences is booming here. Tech companies have moved their headquarters here. And this is, I think, only scratching the surface of the potential for this and the surrounding areas. And it really comes back to you and your vision. So thank you, sir, for your great service to our city. And you heard from Mark Tebbe, the OG of Venture Summits. Thank you, Mark. He's one of our greatest entrepreneurs who's deeply committed to and always giving back to Chicago's tech community. You've taught me so much about the tech community, about the startup world, but also just about being bold and supporting and highlighting our tech community, our innovators, our creators. Mark, thank you so much for all of your counsel and guidance, and keep on going. I'd also like to thank the Council Generals, your various excellencies who are joining us here this morning. In addition to your trade commissioners who are here today, we are grateful for everything that you do to keep Chicago connected to the world, and that work must continue and deepen. I'd also like to acknowledge the elected officials and leaders and staff from the 7 counties of the Greater Chicagoland Economic Partnership. See, this isn't just about Chicago. It's about Chicagoland and us forming, I think, an historic relationship to make sure that we are marketing, serving, and really highlighting the economic powerhouse of the Chicagoland region. Thank you for having confidence and faith in us and World Business Chicago. We will not let you down. Thank you. This partnership includes the City of Chicago, Cook, DuPage, Kane, Kendall, McHenry Lake, and Will counties. Thank you, one and all. I was especially pleased to know that there are 53 unique boutique sponsors and partners helping World Business Chicago to make this summit possible. Thank you to all the partners. We couldn't absolutely not pull this out without you. And finally, I want to thank the organizing team led by WBC's Venture Events Manager, Lauren Bach, Chief Strategy and Innovation Officer, Abin Karaoke, and Innovation and Venture Strategy Director, Nicole McCarthy. Let's give them a round of applause. So let me take you back a little bit, as you heard briefly from Mark. Before the pandemic, the annual Venture Summit enjoyed an average of about 400 participants. In 2021, when the summit returned to in-person, we were proud to welcome 600 participants. In 2022, the two venture summits, Future of Food and then Future of Logistics, welcomed 1,500 people combined. And we made incredible strides to welcome the business and startup community from around the world here to Chicago. But afterwards, as Fassnack alluded to, I went to the WBC team and everyone with some advice. Go big or go home. Because in Chicago, we don't make small plans. And there's so much happening in Chicago that we need to tell the world about what we are doing, how we're doing it, the innovation and creativity that is here. We wanted to spread that word far and wide. And that's why I'm proud to see that this is the largest Chicago Venture Summit ever, and as you heard, with more than 1,000 registered participants. That is evidence that Chicago is, in fact, a bona fide hub of innovation and industry. And today, 1,000 founders, Fortune 500 executives, innovators, and investors have all convened in the greatest city in the world for food innovation, and that is our beloved Chicago. And to the folks that have traveled here from outside Chicago, welcome. We are truly delighted that you're here and hope that you'll spend lots of time falling in love with our beautiful city. We arranged the sunshine for you, a little bit warmer temperatures than what we've been experiencing. You can see the incredible skyline behind me here, our lakefront, our museum campus, and I hope you venture out into some of our city's 77 culturally rich and diverse neighborhoods. And of course, spend some money while you're here. Chicago has a rich history of being a food hub. I just want to put this in context. About 8 years ago, we had about 80 Chicago food and ag businesses. We're now home to over 800 food and ag businesses and counting. From globally renowned and recognized restaurants to neighborhood gems, from elegant Michelin star cuisine to the iconic Chicago-style hot dog and Italian beef. I like mine hot dip with extra cheese, and don't forget the fries. Some of Chicago's brightest food stars are here, like Garrett's Popcorn and Eli's Cheesecake. And I suspect the food stars of tomorrow are sitting here in this room and dreaming big, and we want to make those dreams reality, including those who are curating new proteins, cultivated meats, and systems that will continue to advance the food industry across the globe. Our city is home to some of the largest food and beverage companies in the world, and we take great pride in being a key player in one of the world's most important and delicious sectors. So I'd go as far to say no other city can compete with Chicago when it comes to food, when it comes to food innovation and the food industry. Our region's proximity to the nation's most productive farmland and our positioning as a transportation hub is a fuel that continues to grow and thrive this industry. Today, the Chicago metro area is home to the nation's largest food manufacturing workforce and home to the industry's largest and most innovative corporations. We are home to a nearly $10 billion food and agriculture sector in Chicagoland, and you should clap for that. We have truly world-class food innovation ecosystem and more than 75 startup incubators and accelerators, all focused on the next generation of food and agriculture. Investors from around the world are taking notice of our strengths. Right here in Chicagoland, food and agriculture investments increased a whopping 544% between 2019 and 2022, compared to 73% nationwide. That tells you something about what the investor community is seeing here in Chicago. So investors here today, my pitch to you is simple. You will find the best corporations located here in Chicago. You'll find the best food startups right here in this very room, a majority of them based in Chicago. You'll find the next generation of food VCs in Chicago. And Chicago's central location and highly diverse and skilled workforce gives you everything that you need to thrive. We're checking off everything that you do to do due diligence on whether or not you're going to invest. You're finding it right here in this room today. So look no further than Chicago. This summit is an incredible opportunity to explore the latest trends, innovations, and unique challenges that are facing the food industry, as well as an opportunity to share ideas on how we can all work together to build a more sustainable and equitable future for food. Jeff was right. We've got to be thinking about sustainability. We've got to be thinking about how we deal with food waste. We've got to be thinking about how we make access to food more equitable everywhere. No one should ever be hungry in the United States of America, and certainly not here in Chicago. And I challenge you to think about how we can solve that problem of hunger in our nation, in our city, in our state, once and for all. You are going to hear from a brilliant keynote speaker, Alana Cotton, the new North American president and chief business officer for Ferrero, a Chicagoland company that's been around for a long time. You're also going to hear from Hishiro Shiragami, the chief innovation officer at Ajinomoto, who's traveled here all the way from Tokyo to be here with you today. Take advantage of these opportunities. And finally, our closing keynote, Christian Coppell, the Chief Marketing Officer for Quaker Foods North America, located right here in Chicago. Great opportunity to hear industry leaders bringing ideas and innovation right to you here at this summit. This summit also has a slate of experts on hand who will share more about the future of our markets with speakers from JP Morgan, SWAT Equity Partners, Cooley, and Supply Chain Capital. You'll also learn more about the next generation of corporate innovation with distinguished speakers from Edelman, Kraft Heinz, DLA Piper, Mars Wrigley, and Microsoft. And don't miss out on lunch today, because diverse founders will be featured at the TechRise Startup Pitch Competition. Everyone is looking for the next Silicon Valley. And while some cities like Miami and Austin are getting a lot of buzz, let me tell you folks, Chicago is where it's actually happening. You know, sometimes we're a little too Midwest modest and a little stealth in our approach, but that's only because we're light years ahead of everyone else. So it is with great pride that I'm honored to officially open the Chicago Venture Summit's Future of Food event. I hope you all enjoy, learn more about what's happening on the food scene, consume, nourish, and solve our world's greatest challenges right here, today, right now. Thank you, and welcome to our great city.